And welcome inside Colonial Life Arena in Columbia, South Carolina. It's women's college basketball on the SEC Network. Tonight, the South Carolina Gamecocks play host to the Wildcats of Kansas State. Hello everyone, I'm Dave Weinstein alongside Brett Ball. It's been a tough non-conference schedule for the Gamecocks this season, but the #1 team in the land has handled it with class. They remain undefeated. Another difficult matchup tonight, Brett, in Kansas State.
Absolutely. The Big 12 SEC Challenge, the last time these two teams have met were during the NCAA tournament in 2016, but anytime you get the matchup against the #1 team in the nation, it's always going to be a great game.
Well, all eyes will be on the paint tonight as this features a matchup between two of the best centers in the country. Let's start with Kansas State's Ayoka Lee.
Ayoka Lee, again, a scoring machine. ESPN National Player of the Week honors in November. She leads the team in scoring, is third in the nation in points per game. A career high of 43 points versus Central Arkansas. She's literally a walking double-double. She's getting to the free throw line a little bit more than Boston, 31 for 43 on the season, along with 33 blocks. But she leads in score, block, and field goal for the team.
Well, she'll be going up against an All-American for the Gamecocks, coming off a monster game on Monday. It's Aaliyah Boston.
Absolutely. We talked about the Big 12 SEC Challenge. It's really the battle of the post. Aaliyah Boston, you cannot talk about Gamecock success without talking about her. All-American, preseason player of the year, last game earlier this week, 29-point performance, 13 for 13 from the field. She's averaging over 61% from the field goal. She's mobile. She can post you up. She can shoot from a three. Again, a very dependable, reliable player here in Aaliyah Boston.
Just about ready for the opening tip here inside Colonial Life Arena. South Carolina, perfect 8-0 to start the season. As I mentioned, the #1 team in the nation. Kansas State 7-1. It'll be Saxton and Lee. And Saxton wins a tip. We are underway from Columbia. Zaya Cook gets inside. She'll kick it back out to Letitia Ami here, getting the start for the Gamecocks. Inside look to Ami here. Off the glass and in.
Great start for the Gamecocks, getting on the boards early.
Ami here, the junior forward from Canada, averaging 7.9 per game. Here's your starting lineup for Kansas State. 3 freshmen starting for the Wildcats, joining Ebert and Lee. Off the glass, no good. Lee fighting for the rebound. Instead, it's Boston, but a foul is going to be called on Ayoka Lee. So the star for the Wildcats picks up an early foul, Brett.
Yeah, that's not anything that the Wildcats want early from their best player on the floor.
And your starting 5 for the Gamecocks. No Destiny Henderson tonight, so Ami here gets the start. Boston, too strong, gets the offensive rebound, off the glass and in. 4-0 Gamecock lead. This is Jalen Glenn and her sister Briley, Glenn twins. Ebert trying to drive inside. She'll kick it back out. They get it to Lee. The turnaround is good.
That's a great shot for Lee.
Lee averaging 24.4 points per game. She averages a double-double, 24.4 and 11.6 boards. Good look inside to Saxton.
Again, that's having court awareness. That's just Boston's IQ, being able to see the floor. Again, just what makes them the #1 team in the nation.
Again, inside to Lee. The turnaround is good.
We're going to see a lot of that back and forth tonight. Again, the battle of the bigs.
Ayoka Lee takes the majority of the shots for Kansas State Wildcats. 138 field goal attempts. The next closest is 58 from Sundell. A whistle here. It's going to be called on Sundell, her first. Freshman guard from Maryville, Missouri. So Bree Beal to the line. Misses the first. Beal coming into tonight, just 1 for 2 on the season in free throw opportunities. She's a shooter, doesn't get to the line much. Hits the second. Some pressure here. And the Wildcats are able to break it. Getting the friendly roll, it's Sundell, the freshman guard from Missouri. Sundell coming into tonight, 10.4 points per game. She's second on the team in scoring. An inside look to Saxton. She's double teamed. Cook for 3. Too strong. Offensive rebound for Ami here. A tie-up. And we'll go the other way. Possession arrow in favor of Kansas State. Here's Sundell. Pulls up, her shot is blocked by Ami here. Finding the bottom of the rim that time is Sundell. Fight for the loose ball, it's Ami here. Here come the Gamecocks the other way. Wondered who'd be running the point tonight without Destiny Henderson. Should be point by committee. Currently it's Ami here. Boston.
Again, getting in the paint, that's her sweet spot. If you can get her there, or if she gets the ball there, you know she's going to be productive.
Glenn high off the glass. And foul is called. It's going to be called on Bree Beal, her first. For a substitution for the Wildcats, checking in Laura Mackey, senior forward from Baileyville, Kansas. She replaces Ebert. Jalen Glenn hits the first. One of the Glenn twins. They're freshman guards from Kansas City. They both average exactly 7 points per game. Boston hands off to Cook. And a foul will be called on Kansas State. It's going to be Serena Sundell, her second. And the Gamecocks will make their first substitution as Camila Cardoso checks in. Take another look at the foul from Sundell.
That drive by Cook, again, that's something that she always, as one of her strengths, is being able to drive into the basket, whether she finishes or get a foul and get to the free throw line.
This is the first. She's a 75% free throw shooter coming into tonight. Junior guard from Toledo, Ohio, averaging 12.5 per game. That's good for second on the team. Gamecocks lead 10-7. They apply some pressure here and create a turnover.
I think that's what's so the advantage of having Ami here in that position, because she's so long.
Cook pulled up, bouncing around. Finally, it ends up in the hands of Briley Glenn. Glenn has her shot blocked by Cardoso. Now looking inside to Lee. Misses from in close. A rare miss for Lee. Glenn for 3. Too strong, back iron. Lee trying to keep it alive. Instead, it's Ami here the other way. Trying to put a move on Glenn. Cardoso will follow up. And we're going to have a foul called on the Wildcats.
Dave, I feel like all the fouls that have been called thus far has, again, been around the paint area, trying to get the ball on the inside.
First foul called on Jalen Glenn. Taking a look at Jeff Mitty, the head coach of the Wildcats in his 8th season, 30th season as a head coach overall. He has impressive numbers in his coaching career. in his 30 years, 20 postseason tournament appearances. Cardoso hits the first. Sophomore center from Brazil. Transfer from Syracuse, was ACC co-defensive player of the year last year. Imagine that, right? You get an ACC co-defensive player of the year and you're able to bring her off your bench. That's how deep your team is.
And her Lee would be a good matchup as well. They have some of the similar playing style, even though Lee, she just got substituted, but having her on floor on the presence for South Carolina would be good.
Well, Kansas State has missed their last 5 shots. They trail 12-7. A floater from Glenn. That's good. Briley Glenn. Her career high was 15 points. That came on Monday against North Dakota State. Too high for Cardoso. And it's a turnover here for the Gamecocks. Second turnover for South Carolina. That brings us to our first media timeout. And welcome back inside Colonial Life Arena. We're in the first quarter. South Carolina leads Kansas State 12-9. This matchup is part of the annual Big 12 SEC Challenge. It takes place on campus sites throughout the weekend. Take a look at some results already from this SEC Big 12 Challenge. And Kentucky a winner, Georgia a winner, LSU upsetting Iowa State, and then tomorrow we're going to have Mississippi State and Oklahoma, and Mizzou going up against Baylor. And here are your Sunday matchups. All eyes on that big one down the Lone Star State, number 15 Texas and number 17 Texas A&M. South Carolina has been a part of this series 3 times prior to this season. They're 2-1 overall in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. The challenge began in 2014. The Gamecocks played their first game in the challenge in 2016. That's when it expanded to the current 10-game format. Gamecocks won both of their road games in the series, at Texas in 2016, at Iowa as well, but they lost their lone home game. That was against Baylor in 2018. Dawn Staley, the head coach of the Gamecocks. Dawn in her 14th season. Of course, that 2017 National Championship, 3 Final Fours in the last 6 years, including last season. Her Gamecocks have ranked in the AP Top 25 every week since December 10th, 2012. That shot is short. Cardoso has the rebound stripped away. This is Simone Goodrich, senior guard from Chicago. Lauterbach for 3.
I think Cardoso got a tip of that ball.
Lauterbach, backup center, in for Lee. And she's battling in the post right now with Boston. They do get it to Boston. Lauterbach giving her some space. Ami here. This is from in close, gets the offensive rebound. And a foul called. And it'll be called on Briley Glenn, her first.
The Gamecocks have done a great job thus far getting on the boards, getting second chance points, and that's something that the coach talked about before, getting rebounds, not letting them get anything that is easy, making them work for everything, for every shot, and that starts with rebounding.
Gamecocks are winning the rebounding battle right now, 10-4. 4 of those are offensive rebounds. Ami here hits the first. Coming into tonight, she's a 70% free throw shooter. And this is the second, the rebound to Aoka Lee, who's back in for the Wildcats. Up ahead and able to finish. It's Laura Mackey.
Yeah, getting it out of transition, that's what the Wildcats are going to have to do tonight, and that's what Coach Mitty talked about, just pushing the ball, keeping the game at a fast pace.
Cook can't hit, rebound to Lee. Wildcats back the other way. Goodwitch drives, kicks it back out. Too strong was Jada Moore. Rivers for three. In and out. And rebound to Jalen Glenn. Glenn averaging 3.4 boards per game. Sister Briley 2.6. South Carolina has now missed its last 5 shots. They lead by 2. Looking for Lee inside. She's covered well by Cardoso, who affected the shot. Cardoso now posting up inside, and she'll get the basket.
Wow, that was a great pass inside again, being able to see, getting the ball against the big. She has a greater percentage of making it when you get the ball down there.
4 points now for Cardoso. Got her hands on that pass. Checking in for the Gamecocks, it's going to be Destiny Littleton, senior guard from San Diego, California. Averaging 10.4 minutes per game off the bench this season for South Carolina. She's a three-point shooter. Kansas State will have to watch her behind the arc. 18 of her 22 shots this year from 3. Sundell. Give and go with Mackey. That shot way off. And the rebound in the hands of Sanaya Rivers. Littleton for 3. That's what I mentioned, Brett. She is a three-point shooter.
She is, and that's, again, a good look for South Carolina, having her out there while Cook plays or is holding down the point guard position.
Trying to get inside the lead. Instead on the drive, it's Moore. Boston back the other way for the Gamecocks. Cook lost the handle, so here comes Jada Moore up ahead, takes it herself. She is blocked by Sanaya Rivers.
What a great defensive play. It was almost like she was just waking up and waiting for that.
Lee misses from in close. Sanaya Rivers, freshman guard from Wilmington, North Carolina, the number 3 overall player in the class of 2021. Gatorade and USA Today National Player of the Year last year in high school.
It was a great defensive play.
Cardoso. And a jump ball is called. Excellent defense from Aoka Lee. Speaking of excellent defense, let's take a look at the block from Rivers. That's the 5th block for the Gamecocks tonight.
And I think it's good to have Rivers out on the floor. You know, she's a freshman getting some looks early. I think this would be good for helping boosting up her confidence plays.
And the ball will stay with South Carolina. Littleton checked by Glenn. Cardoso with 2 to shoot. Off the front iron. "20 seconds remaining in the quarter for Sundell. She'll drive, take it herself, high off the glass. Lee crashed the board. And a foul called on the Gamecocks.
That was a great drive from Sundell. Again, trying to get the ball inside the paint. They've had great productivity being able to drive either in transition or, again, just taking it from the wing to drive to the basket. So she's still trying to be productive for her team.
First foul on Destiny Littleton will send Aoka Lee to the line. 72% free throw shooter. And this is the first. What an opener she had this season, Brett. 43 points against Central Arkansas.
Yeah.
And 33 and 13 against WKU. Hits the second. 31, 13, and 7 blocks against North Carolina A&T. She's had some monster performances this season for Kansas State.
For sure. She seems, again, highly productive whenever she's on the floor.
Well, they'll take her out here in the final 10 seconds so she doesn't pick up her second foul. Cook will drive, loses possession. And that'll do it for the first quarter. An entertaining first quarter as South Carolina leads 15-12. Welcome back inside Colonial Life Arena. I mentioned in the open, Brett, the tough non-conference schedule that South Carolina has had this season. Take a look against ranked teams, 3 in the top 10, all victories against NC State, Oregon, and UConn.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is good to have a tough schedule like this. You help you prepare for the SEC season.
And some more upcoming ranked opponents: Maryland, Stanford, Kentucky, A&M in SEC play, and UConn once again.
Yeah, for sure. That game is always it's always look forward to looking for that rematch for UConn.
Kansas State's schedule hasn't been as difficult. They have faced one common opponent though in that list, and that was NC State. The Wildcats lost to the Wolfpack 90-69 back on November 19th. South Carolina defeated NC State 66-57 up in Raleigh. 15-12 is our score as we start the second quarter. Kansas State just 1 for their last 10. South Carolina 1 for their last 9. Neither team shooting all that well. Almost a turnover. 10 seconds for Sundell. She'll drive on Ami here. Runs into traffic and should be called for the travel. Second turnover for the Wildcats.
You know, this is something that Coach Jeff talked about, is being decisive and confident with your decisions, with the guards, with South Carolina's pressures, being sure of the decisions to minimize turnovers.
Trying to get the ball inside to Boston, but...
Speaking of turnovers, yeah, had the right idea. Yes. This is bad timing.
6th turnover for the Gamecocks. Jeff Mittie in his 8th season at Kansas State, 30 years overall as a head coach. He began his head coaching career at Missouri Western back in 1992, then to Arkansas State, TCU, and now Kansas State. Spent 15 seasons at TCU. He's had 27 winning seasons in his previous 29 as a head coach. This is his 30th year. Ebert unable to hit off the glass. Here's Rivers. Kansas State, who's known for their defense, has been giving the Gamecocks fits tonight. It's turnover number 7. They get it inside to Lee. Lee was looking for a call. She's not going to get it. This is a Kansas State defense, Brett, that's held their opponents to 49.9 points per game, 310 field goal percentage, and a 195 three-point field goal percentage.
Yes, and they're doing that tonight. Again, as you can see, the last 3 drives into the paint have been turnovers from just own self-inflicted wounds, just not being able to handle the ball and drive into the paint.
Second foul on Briley Glenn. They rank 11th in the nation in field goal percentage defense and 10th in the nation in three-point percentage defense. Boston spinning. She'll draw the foul.
You know, I really like having Ami here at the point guard. That's given South Carolina a very different look. And so, thus far in the game, she's really handled herself well. Have managed the floor while being out there, being able to control the tempo as well.
Boston to the line. She rattles in the first. Kansas State will have to make a substitution. Actually, they won't, because Serena Sundell has picked up 3 fouls. Their starting guard. And now she'll come out. Simone Goodrich checks in for Sundell. So early foul trouble for the freshman, who's the current Big 12 freshman of the week. Got a 25.5 rebound, 3 steal performance against Abilene Christian. Lee turns around on Boston. She's short. And me here will slow it down. Boston from inside the arc. That's good.
That's a great shot for Boston, and that's what, again, makes her so versatile, being able to shoot those elbow jumpers.
Timeout, Kansas State. Aaliyah Boston has 8 points, 8 rebounds already, and there's 7:35 to go here in the second quarter. So far in that matchup, Boston against Lee. Lee 5 points, 3 rebounds. Boston 8 points and 8 boards. What have you seen in that matchup so far, Brett?
I mean, again, something that we talked about before, just the ability to, they're going to be battling down in the post player, battling down in the post. And it's so early. We're relatively early in the game. I'm excited to see what more Lee is going to be able to do. She has 1 foul, but again, that's what separates her and Boston, as being able to shoot that elbow jumper down there.
The accolades have really piled up for Aoka Lee. Preseason All Big 12. She's on the Wooden Award, Naismith Award, and Lisa Leslie Award watch list for this season. First team All Big 12 the last 2 seasons. It's Big 12 Freshman of the Year back in 2020. She averaged 15.4 points per game as a freshman, 19.1 points per game last season, now averaging 24.4. So that average has just gone up every year for Aoka Lee.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, her level of productivity has just, again, makes her the player that she, as a result, she has all these accomplishments because she's being able to be productive on the floor. And even Coach talked about her off the floor, too, her just being a great teammate, being considering others, taking the freshmen under her wings, and she thinks she's majoring in sports psychology.
Right, she is.
Majoring in sports psychology. She'll leave with her master's, and just growing in a leadership role. And I think that's so important to, in addition to the accolades she has on the floor, just being able to be just a good person and a good player, a good teammate, because again, that changes the dynamic, or influences the dynamic of the team.
Impressive off the court and on. She's the only player in the nation averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Of course, she has a challenge tonight, though, as she's facing Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah,
probably better than anyone she's faced so far this season.
Right.
But she has gone up against some major hitters in women's college basketball. She went up against Collier from Texas, who was the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. She's gone up against Lauren Cox at Baylor, who was the 2nd overall pick in the WNBA draft the year before. So she's played against some heavy hitters in the Big 12. And Boston, of course, a combo of all of those.
All of them, right.
Kansas State started 3 for 4. Since then, 2 for 19. Glenn off the glass.
Oh, great finish.
So the lead is 5 for the Gamecocks. Saxton was posting up. They didn't get it to her. Let's try the other side. Instead, it's Beal. Now they get it to Saxton. Turns around from in close, and she'll draw the foul.
That's a great job by Saxton, making sure that she just stayed open. She kept working to make herself available, and because she was working, it made the pass from Beal so much more easier.
Let's take another look. She made herself.
And she's keep moving without the ball, and again, that's just one of her strengths for the team.
She made herself available that entire possession, but another thing she did, Brett, she drew the 2nd foul on Aoka Lee.
Oh yeah.
And that's huge.
Looks like coach is going to leave her in the game.
She'll stay matched up with Boston. And they'll get it to Lee. Takes about 2/3 of the team's shots. The turnaround, she draws the foul.
There you go, there's that matchup.
First foul on Aaliyah Boston, the junior forward from St. Thomas. And so Aoka Lee to the line. Hits the first. Here's another look at this matchup between Lee and Boston. On the arm.
Yeah.
So the Gamecock lead is 4. Ami here. She got it inside to Boston, and a whistle. Is this against Lee? It is. So the third foul now on Aoka Lee. Let's take another look here.
Coming over from help side. Yeah, she got her body. Coach is not happy at all.
So Kansas State's best player has to exit with 6:25 to go in the second quarter. 3 fouls.
And again, that's the traffic that Aaliyah Boston attracts when she's in the post.
Well, how about the defense from Lauterbach filling in for Lee? Lauterbach goes 6'7". She's actually taller than Lee. She's the tallest player in program history. Lee goes 6'6". The pull-up is good from Goodrich.
That's a great job for Goodrich, just to staying consistent, keeping her eye up and looking for the best shot for that possession.
Ami here finishes off the glass and water.
You know, I'm not surprised, but I'm just so happy for Ami here and her productivity in the game thus far. She's been playing the point guard, but also attacking the basket as well. Just being productive in almost every area of the stat sheet for tonight's game.
Lauterbach picks up the foul, her first. Ami here finishes off the three-point play. Six points for Ami here. Glenn finds her sister. Briley Glenn. Ebert. Jalen Glenn. The floater. Off the mark, and the rebound to Boston. Ami here looks to push. Beal for 3. Rebound and putback from Cardoso.
Great positioning from Cardoso, just being there ready to get the rebound and a nice putback.
I mentioned what she did on defense last year. She averaged 13.6 per game for the Orange. She was second in the ACC in field goal percentage. Driving, this is Briley Glenn. And Cardoso with the board. Here comes Ami here. 1-on-4, so she'll pull it back. Terrific feed from Boston to Cardoso. She misses, but ball in the hands of Cook, and now back to Ami here. 7-point lead for the Gamecocks, 10 to shoot for Letitia Ami here. She'll drive, feed Boston.
Wow, what a beautiful play. Again, just having court awareness, knowing she's now being able to draw traffic to her to be able to shoot, and now being able to see Aaliyah Boston for the open layup.
Boston, their third double-double of the season. 33rd career double-double. Cardoso will pick up the foul. Let's take another look at the feed from Ami here to Boston.
And again, that's why the point guard position is it's not about size, it's about basketball IQ. Again, being able to see the open man, and Ami here is doing a phenomenal job of that tonight.
Ami here is so versatile. She can really play all 5 positions on the floor.
Oh yeah.
For Coach Staley.
Absolutely, and she talked about playing all positions in high school, and now it's just doing the same thing on a different level.
And at 6'4", she often draws a defensive assignment against the opposing team's top guard. In and out for Ebert. So Ami here the other way. She'll push it. Runs into traffic, and a foul will be called.
And again, it's just another thought to drive to the basket. And again, she's been productive with that tonight. She didn't finish, however, she's getting to the free throw line.
First foul called on Jada Moore. Amihir, the junior from Mississauga, Ontario. She's been on the Canadian national team. Doesn't get the role. Mentioned this, Brett, in broadcast earlier this season against Clemson, but she's the first Canadian woman to dunk. Did so at age 15.
Wow.
It's an unbelievable accomplishment at such a young age.
Well, the way she's playing tonight, I'm hoping that we may see a dunk. What about you?
I'd love to see it. Gamecocks lead by 9. Jada Moore. And she stepped out of bounds, so a turnover here. It's the third turnover for Kansas State.
And again, just a solid defensive play by Amihir. Her body and her height just brings cuts down the vision of shorter guards.
Amihir averages 7.9 per game. She already has 6. There's a look inside, and the finish from Fagan, freshman guard from Ellenwood, Georgia.
I know, it's great to see freshmen getting some early play and being productive on the floor. It's a great finish by Fagan.
A 9-0 run for the Gamecocks. Glenn will drive. She was bothered by Beal. The ball will stay with Kansas State. Goodrich will inbound for the Wildcats. Moore. Shot blocked by Amihir.
Are we surprised? Her productivity tonight has just been unbelievable defensively. Just being everywhere, being able to shut down and get blocks and make huge stops.
This is the problem that Amihir presents to opposing teams' guards. Amihir is 6'4", Moore is 5'11", so giving up 5 inches. And look at those block totals, 8 now for the Gamecocks, just 1 for the Wildcats.
That's what Amihir does. Her presence on defense, being able to cut down the vision of shorter guards is just, again, shows the versatility in the entire team, but also in this point guard rotation. I mean, she's done a great job thus far tonight.
Just a long player, aggressive. She got the start tonight with Destiny Henderson out. First foul on Sanaya Fagan. Henderson, the senior guard from Fort Myers, Florida. 12.3 points per game. Turnover here. Beal loses control, and we'll go the other way.
You know, Bria Beal is one of those just solid players for South Carolina as well. You know, we haven't seen much from her tonight, but she knows how to just contain her man, but also shoot the outside shot as well.
Goodrich goes down. Here's Jada Moore. And here gave her some space. 5 seconds for Goodrich. She'll drive, pull up. And shot clock violation against Kansas State. Another solid defensive possession for South Carolina.
Yes, another solid defensive possession. Something what Coach Jeff talked about earlier. Again, they have the best defense in the country, and he talked about, again, just being decisive and staying confident in the decisions that you make.
And we asked him about the matchup against South Carolina, and you're right, Brett, he said one of the best defensive teams in the country. And he said they're long, they're athletic, they have all the pieces. It's really maybe the best defensive team he's ever seen. South Carolina team that can go big or small. And they've played a solid schedule and are holding people to a low shooting percentage. You have to be really decisive against them, and he's got to keep his freshmen confident on offense. He starts 3 of them.
And I think they've done a great job tonight by just driving the paint. They've getting to the free throw line a lot. So I see getting to the free throw line as some form of productivity that you're being productive in some area, whether it's driving to the paint or, again, trying to get the ball in the basket, to the basket. And number 5, they have, without hesitation, have driven to the basket several times in the game.
One thing they can do better is points off of turnovers. They forced 9 turnovers, but no points off of those 9 turnovers for the Wildcats. Cook from the corner. Fight for the rebound in the hands of Boston. And she'll draw a foul on Kansas State. It'll be called on Laura Mackey, her first. Send Aaliyah Boston to the line as South Carolina is in the bonus. Boston's 2 for 2 from the line tonight. Misses that one. Aaliyah averaged a double-double last year, 13.7 points, 11.5 rebounds. This year she's at 16.3 and 8. So the rebounds down a little bit, but the points are up. She takes a seat. Gamecock lead is 12. Moore finds Lauterbach. And the shot not close. So Sanaya Rivers the other way. Rivers out of Ashley High School in North Carolina. A whistle and a foul will be called against the Wildcats, and South Carolina's in the bonus. So they'll head back to the line. Second foul on Mackey. Sanaya Fagan to the line. In and out on the first. That's her first miss of the season. She was 4 for 4 coming into tonight from the charity stripe. Freshman guard from Ellenwood, Georgia. Comes from a basketball family. Her mom played at Washington, her dad at Morgan State. First team All-American out of Forest Park High School. He's the number 4 overall player in the class of 2021. 6-minute scoring drought for the Wildcats. They trail by 13. Goodrich unable to connect off the glass. South Carolina can hold for the final shot. Cook the give and go with Cardoso. And she'll draw the foul.
Beautiful play. Again, that just goes with Cook not stop moving without the ball. Get it on the inside at the end. Cardoso being able to see her. She gets the ball. She does not stop moving. And again, that's a great shot for Cook. We know in any other time she probably would have made that, but hopefully she can complete it at the free throw line.
Second foul on Lauterbach. Cook now 1 for 4 tonight from the free throw line. Just over 3 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Cook unable to hit. That'll send us to halftime. South Carolina leads Kansas State 30-17. Columbia. It's halftime here in Columbia. An An 11-0 run to end the second quarter for South Carolina. The Gamecocks lead this one 30-17. And welcome back, Dave and Brett with you. We were wondering who would get the start tonight for South Carolina at point guard with Destiny Henderson out. It went to Letitia Ami here. What have you seen from her so far?
Again, like you said before, that questionable point guard position. Ami here, again, the point guard position, of course you want to score, you want to be productive, but she has kept the game steady. She controlled the tempo. She's been productive on the offensive side as well as the defensive side, being able to create blocks and really cut down the vision of the mismatch that she's had. But I've really liked seeing her at that point guard position. Again, being able to control the tempo, see the floor, get the ball to the right person, get the ball to the open man. And again, she's driving, she's getting rebounds. And again, you may not see it in the points that she's provided on the floor, but the other little things that she's done, again, has just kept, she's one of the reasons why South Carolina is leading this game.
Well, she does have 6 points. Let's take a look at some highlights from the first half. For South Carolina, it was Aaliyah Boston early and often.
Absolutely. Aaliyah Boston, again, she does what she does best. The All-American Defensive Player of the Year. Being able to finish, again, she doesn't just give up once she misses. She follows up with a shot, and she can shoot from anywhere on the field, whether it's anywhere from the floor, whether it's right under the basket at the elbow or the three-point line. And again, she continues to move without the ball. Again, that's what South Carolina does.
South Carolina had some stifling defense. Kansas State, no points in the last 6:05 of the second quarter. They're just 2 for their last 21. Big reason why has been the shot blocking presence of the Gamecocks.
Absolutely, just long, being able to get that freshman. Again, as you can see, again, Ami here, again, using her body and her presence to get these defensive stops.
Aoka Lee was your player to watch for Kansas State. She had some early points, but then got into foul trouble.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of her presence on the second half. Thus far, again, she's been able to get a few points on Boston, but for the most part, you know, when you're in foul trouble, you can't be that productive for your team. So I'm excited to see what she's going to bring the second half.
Lee has 6 points and 3 rebounds, but does have 3 fouls. Here's your stats comparison. And that field goal percentage, Brett, not good for Kansas State. 7 for 34. That's just 21%.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really tough to take a lead in the game where you're shooting only 7 out of 34 from the field goal.
Almost doubled up in rebounds as well. 30 for the Gamecocks, just 16 for Kansas State. There's one thing you can maybe point out for South Carolina that you'd like them to improve on, maybe those 9 turnovers.
Yeah. And then for Kansas State also to maximize on those turnovers. They haven't gotten any points off of those turnovers. So if they're going to be turning over the ball, you want to make sure that you can use it on the other end, use it to your benefit if you're going to have a good defensive stop.
They are just about ready for the start of the second half here in Columbia. 13-point lead for the Gamecocks. And they have possession. Look inside to Boston. She'll kick it out. Saxton. A miss in the rebound to Briley Glenn.
Beautiful play. Would have liked to see that finish, though.
Sundell, she's in some foul trouble as well. She had 3 fouls in the first half. Freshman guard from Missouri. She'll look inside to Lee. And a foul's going to be called on Ami here, who does not agree with the call.
Yeah, I mean, there is obviously some size mismatch. They're not a big difference, but there is some difference. So, again, I think she did catch her body a little bit.
We're going to have another foul called here on the Gamecocks. And it's going to be Ami here. So she picks up a quick 2 to start the second half. Dawn Staley not pleased.
I hope I didn't jinx her before talking about her. But again, her presence, just being active and being aware, just have to watch out for those fouls because they need her on the floor.
Briley Glenn hits the first. Briley and Jalen, the Glenn twins. All-state 1,000-point scorers out of Kansas City, Missouri, the Bartow School. Boston Drives on Lee. Is able to finish, and that time Lee had to back off a little bit. Maybe she's going to be a little more cautious here with those 3 fouls.
Absolutely, yeah. I saw her stepping away just a little bit. Again, Boston doing what she does best. Again, having to play smarter now.
Briley Glenn. Now Jalen. Briley will drive. Off the glass with the left hand, can't finish. And so it's Ami here the other way. And this could be trouble for Kansas State if this is called on Aoka Lee. It is her 4th foul. We're early in the 3rd quarter.
Wow. And again, this is not good for Kansas State, but again, being able to get in position to get the ball down there just to put her in the vulnerable position to be able to foul. Great job by Gamecocks.
So we'll see a lot of Taylor Lauterbach here. Second center for the Wildcats. 4 fouls on Lee. And now 3 on Lauterbach. So those are your starting center and your backup center for Kansas State. 4 fouls for Lee, 3 for Lauterbach. We got 8:20 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it's not the best time to be in foul trouble, but again, having to really now, with Boston still being in the game, being able to communicate with your teammates about how to guard her.
So Mackey checks in for Lauterbach. And Kansas State will go small here. Beal misses the first. And the second. Boston, strong rebound.
That's how you muster your way through for a finish. Doesn't get any better than that.
"15 points, 14 rebounds for Aaliyah Boston. Sundell will drive. Runs into a roadblock in Aaliyah Boston. This is Beal. Ami here trying to get it to Boston. Great hands underneath, and she finishes.
Yeah, that was a great hand. It was a little overthrown, but again, Boston with their almost wide receiver hands been able to catch the ball, control it, and finish.
Both her and Lee are so good offensively because they have terrific hands. Most
Absolutely.
passes, if they're in their vicinity inside, they're going to catch them.
They
And if they're close underneath, they're going to finish.
Right, they can have the ability to go get the ball, even if it's thrown a little bit.
Foul is going to be called on the Gamecocks. Let's take a look at Leah Boston doing it defensively, and then on the offensive end,
And
she's
again,
a load.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you have to give credit to Ami here, being able to get the ball to her or seeing her as open.
Glenn for 3, off the mark.
Coast to coast. It doesn't get any better than that. Again, being able to see the floor, push the ball in transition.
Timeout Kansas State as South Carolina has opened up a 38-19 lead here with 6:55 to go in the 3rd quarter. South Carolina has doubled up Kansas State. They lead this one 38-19. Aoka Lee averaging over 24 points per game tonight. On the season, tonight only has 6, but 4 fouls, right? And that's a big story for the Wildcats.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when you have your best player on the team, as well as a leading scorer on the bench for fouls, it requires everyone else around you to step up. But again, it speaks to South Carolina, their defense and being able to get her in foul trouble early. And again, being able to attack her. The post players are not moving and just putting her, again, in positions where she's having foul trouble.
Well, the Gamecocks have dominated in the paint points in favor of South Carolina, 26-10. Kansas State averages 40 points in the paint per game this season. Turnover here. Aaliyah Boston has been dominating so far, and over the last 2 games, she's 20 of 22 for 46 points. That total is going to go up even further, I have a feeling, Brett, in the second half.
Yeah, I agree.
Ami here hits the bottom of the rim. Glenn will drive, a floater, too strong, and Beal the rebound. Up ahead, it's Cook. Can't finish, but draws the foul.
Again, none of the great advantages of Cook is, again, she never stops moving, and getting her the ball in transition is where you want her to have it. Again, we'd like to see the finish, but hopefully she can make up for those at the free throw line.
First foul on Emily Ebert will send Zaya Cook to the line. Cook 1 for 4 tonight from the free throw line. It's the first. She's been good this season for the Gamecocks. 17 points in the opener at NC State, 17 points against UConn, so she steps it up against the toughest opponents. Season high 20 points, 5 assists against Oregon, preseason All-SEC first team member. The lead is 21. Mackey. 10 seconds for Sundell. Tries to hand off to Glenn. Goes behind the back, off the glass. A bit of a wild shot, so it's the Gamecocks the other way. A look to Boston, terrific feed.
Beautiful
and the
pass.
finish.
Beautiful pass. Again, Ami here having her head up. Again, Boston running in transition and just meeting her with the ball for a finish.
Ami here doing her best Destiny Henderson impression tonight. She's got 3 assists, and the shot is good.
I think that's great for Kansas State, again, to get them on the scoring board and building up their confidence for this game.
That's the first 3-pointer made by either team tonight. Kansas State 1 for 7 from 3. South Carolina 0 for 5. Ami here. She answers.
She's doing it all tonight. I mean, blocks, shots, controlling the tempo. I mean, just again, that shows her versatility as a player. You can see the bench is excited and happy for her.
11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks for Ami here. Glenn on the drive. Good looking basket from Briley Glenn.
It's good to see her finish too. She's been doing a couple of those drives this game, but haven't been able to make it connect.
Swing it around to Ami here. Feeds Saxton inside.
A no-look pass, again, being able, basketball IQ, having the eyes in the back of your head or the side of your head, being able to see when your teammates are moving, when they're open, and meeting them with the ball. 4th
assist for Ami here. Sundell falls down. Is able to get it to Mackey. Gamecocks all over Mackey. Steal from Cook. Fancy dribbling. Unable to finish. It was a tough shot. She wanted the foul. Zaya Cook not pleased. Another opportunity here. And the shot clock will run out on the Gamecocks. Timeout on the floor. That'll send us to break. Letitia Ami here. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. Back inside Colonial Life Arena, double-double for Aaliyah Boston, 19 points, 14 rebounds.
Absolutely, again, like you said before, double-double. She's a walking double-double, just so productive, and then she has teammates around her that gets her the ball too. That what makes her so such a valuable player, that she moves without the ball. She claws her way through to get rebounds. She's present on defense. She's just a big size. Her presence, again, draws so many defensive opponents, but she's able to finish. But she has a great team around her that knows when to get to the ball at the right time.
She's so efficient, 8 for 10 from the field tonight. And of course, perfect 13 for 13 on Monday in that 29.14 rebound game against North Carolina A&T. But you mentioned the double-double machine, 22 points, 15 rebounds against UConn back on November 22nd. She was SEC Player of the Week November 23rd after that performance. Here's Goodrich. Lee is back in for Kansas State with 4 fouls. She's able to tip it out, but it ends up in the hands of Victoria Saxton. And I guess at this point, if you're Kansas State, you're trailing by 23, it's a third quarter. You have to have Lee out there, right?
Right, absolutely.
Even with the 4 fouls. Otherwise, this one gets out of hand.
They're switching up the defense a little bit, going to a 2-3.
Cook is short. Rebound for Jada Moore. Unable to connect with Dollinger up ahead. Dollinger, a sophomore guard from Sydney, Australia, averaging 5.1 per game. All Coach Mitty can do is shake his head.
Yeah, Goodrich has done that on the entire game, just really trying to speed up the game. This time she just couldn't get it to connect.
Cardoso. That was a good look from Saxton.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Cardoso already had her hands up, again, which just need to be able to finish those shots.
Cardoso really brings a different dimension to South Carolina this season. Yet another inside presence for the Gamecocks. This time they're unable to get it to her. So it's Briley Glenn the other way. She'll stop, pop, and hit.
Great shot for Glenn. She's been, again, super active and very crucial for this Kansas State team tonight.
10 points for Briley Glenn. Open in the corner, it's Cook. Buries it.
She throws her head down, like, finally, she's able to shoot those shots, and she's known for being able to knock down the three-point shot, so it's good to see her finally connect. It was like a sigh of relief for her.
Second three-point shot for the Gamecocks that's been in tonight. Here's Cook the other way. Good defensive play.
Yeah, great block.
From Dollinger, I believe. She's on the floor. Let's take another look. Well, here's Cook's three from the corner. And trying to take it herself. Dollinger, nice tie out. Gamecocks lead 52-26. He's doubled up Kansas State once again. Sundell trying to get it to Lee. Great denial from Cardoso. That's the thing for Heyoka Lee. Boston's out of the game, but there's no let up going up against Cardoso.
Right. Same presence, same height.
Cardoso even taller at 6'7". Foul will be called on Cardoso, her second. Sophomore from Brazil. That'll send Sundell to the line. Serena Sundell, an 84% free throw shooter coming into tonight. Hits the first. She's a freshman guard from Missouri. She played AAU with the Allen sisters, so that's really expedited their development in that they play well together. She's steady. Coach Mitty tells us this group comes in every day and you don't have to worry as much about the highs and lows of the freshmen as you normally would because they have so much experience playing together coming into Kansas State.
Absolutely. He talked about that chemistry being built prior to coming there, which again, like you said, expedites their ability to play well together.
Cook for three. Off the mark as time expires here in the third quarter. A good third quarter for South Carolina. Back inside Colonial Life Arena, Dave Weinstein, Brett Ball. South Carolina leads Kansas State 52-27 as we get ready for the start of the fourth quarter. There's assistant coach Ebony Halliburton for Kansas State. We asked Coach Mitty about his unsung heroes this season, whether it's someone on the team or someone on his staff. And he mentioned Coach Halliburton, said she never has a bad day. She's so positive. She's actually a pastor, so she preaches on Sundays and preaches a lot to the team Monday through Saturday, but a unique individual. And he told us that everyone who comes across her really leaves feeling better, especially with COVID last year in the pandemic. She was that glue that kept the staff going and kept the group positive.
Yeah, and it's so important to have staff members that would support you. He also called her the hype person and being able to encourage them when they're down. So that's good for a great advantage for Kansas State team.
Enthusiastic and positive presence on the bench for Kansas State. Wildcats looking to get something going here on offense. Glenn. Back the other way, it's Rivers. Amir stole the pass from Littleton, but gives it back to her and misses the three. Sundell has 6 points for Kansas State, tries to get it inside to Lee, quickly double teamed. Here's Lee, and she finishes.
It's good to see Lee back on getting some points for Kansas State. You can see that Boston came over for help side defense, hoping to again stop the scoring for her.
8 points for Aoka Lee. Rivers stops, pops. Too strong. Sundell. She tried to get it to Dollinger, and Dollinger headed towards the basket.
So yeah, a little bit of miscommunication. I thought she may have thought she was going to backdoor on her, but again, lack of communication there.
Ami here, back running the point for the Gamecocks. Gets it inside to Cardoso.
Wow, straight clean pass and great finish by Cardoso.
Eight points for Cardoso. Another look to Lee inside. And South Carolina the other way. Ami here. Kick out to Littleton in the corner. That's good.
Great shot for Littleton. Again, Ami here has the ability to draw in the defense and kick it out for Littleton. I'm glad to see her now knocking down those shots.
Littleton coming into tonight a 29% three-point shooter. Spent her first 2 seasons at Texas, averaged just over 7 a game for the Longhorns. Prolific scorer in high school in California, over 4,000 points from Destiny Littleton out of San Diego. She picks up the foul. As we take a look at the three-point shot from Littleton.
Yeah, that no-look shot, that no-look pass to a great finish.
Yeah, she actually has the California all-time scoring record. Glenn off the mark, the rebound to Boston. Good ball movement right now from the Gamecocks. Rivers spins off the glass. Sundell with the board. Sundell has a brother who plays football at North Dakota State. Rivers passed up the shot. Cardoso from in close. Good deflection from Lee. Well, Lee will exit, and Lauterbach comes back in for Kansas State. Goodrich re-enters the game as well. She comes in for Briley Glenn. Glenn with 10 points leads Kansas State tonight. She has 10 of the 29, so she sits down. Good look inside. Again, a meet here to Boston.
Wow, they're just tag teaming tonight. But again, Boston moving without the ball. And Ami here seeing her where she is. And again, having the basketball IQ, knowing where the open man is and getting her the ball for her to finish.
21 points to go along with 17 rebounds for Boston. Timeout, Kansas State. Back inside Colonial Life Arena. Letitia Mihir has been terrific tonight, getting the start for the Gamecocks. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 blocks. Just filling up the stat sheet, Brett.
She is filling up the stat sheet. And as we talked about earlier, again, having this questions about the rotation of questioning the rotation of the point guard position, but she has definitely stepped into the plate, and she's doing it with ease. She's in every category with assists, points, and again, just seeing the basketball, seeing the floor, seeing her teammates move. She's done a phenomenal job of that tonight.
We thought it might be point guard by committee for South Carolina in the absence of Destiny Henderson, but it's been mostly Ami here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She's definitely been controlling the tempo and just been keeping the game steady and keeping her teammates involved.
Cardoso rejects Glenn. Fourth block for Cardoso. Mackey just unable to find any space. And the shot clock runs out on the Wildcats. Coach Mitty just searching for answers here. His team trails by 30. Cardoso open underneath, unable to finish. And Jalen Glenn tracks that down. Serena Sundell hands off to Glenn, and she'll draw the foul. First foul on Anaya Russell, sophomore guard from Baltimore, Maryland. Seventh game of the season for Russell. And Glenn hits the first. Russell averaging 11.3 minutes per game off the bench for the Gamecocks.
And it's good to see some new faces on the floor with Fagan, Russell, and Rivers getting some playing time and getting some of those getting some of that experience.
Coach Staley able to get some of the youngsters in tonight.
Right.
With a nice cushion. A lot of these freshmen on South Carolina, they'd be stars on other teams, but this team is so deep. They're able to bring them along slowly and teach them the South Carolina way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The depth of the field. Me here talked about earlier with the freshmen and what she just shared with them about keeping their eye on the prize or the end goal of a national championship, but also leaning on someone else, finding a older player, a junior or senior who with experience to be able to coach them through playing here for Coach Staley.
Littleton, a terrific feed to Fagan. She couldn't finish, so it's Sundell the other way. Thought about the three. Mackey will drive. Goodrich stops at the free throw line and hits.
That's a great shot for Goodrich. She's been able to, again, been very influential for Kansas State tonight. 4
points for Goodrich. Started the first 7 games, but did not start last game, did not start tonight. Littleton for three, she's short. Rebound to Lauterbach. Goodrich is the third player in program history to play at least one game in 5 different seasons for the Wildcats. She had a season-ending injury in the opener of her sophomore season. Redshirted that year. Timeout, Kansas State. 3:43 remaining in the fourth quarter. South Carolina leads 61-32. It's a good teaching moment for Jeff Mitty and his Wildcats squad. Season low in points for Kansas State before tonight was 69. They're at 32. Just one loss on the season, that was at NC State when they scored 69 points. Check that, UT Martin, they scored 44. That was a low scoring game. They defeated UT Martin 44-30.
Yeah, and like Coach Jeff said earlier, during this time now you're just getting experience and running sets and having an opportunity to run sets again from the #1 team in the nation. And sometimes, you know, I can only imagine if it's hard to coach teams when you're with the score and being what it is, but again, it is an opportunity to run your sets to get an advanced practice that you wouldn't normally get against your practice players on a regular day of practice. So
there's also some good practice for an upcoming Big 12 schedule that features some good teams. Of course, Baylor, terrific every year. Texas, always a tough opponent. Goodrich, the feed to Lee.
Good to see Lee back out and scoring the ball for Kansas State.
She picked up her 4th foul early in the 3rd quarter. Had to sit her for much of the second half. Russell from the corner.
She was calling for it. She was like, hey, feed me, I'm ready to knock it down.
Second made 3-pointer of the season for Anaya Russell. Lee the turnaround, that's good.
That's a great shot for two scores back-to-back for Lee, seeing her back on the floor. And then she's been steady, even though she has 4 fouls, she's been being able to manage that while she's been on the floor.
12 points for Lee, 5 of 11 from the field. Rivers. Offensive rebound from Cardoso, who's fouled on the putback attempt. Cardoso to the line. This is the second. So Cardoso 3 for 4 from the free throw line tonight. South Carolina leads 65-36. Bree Hall applying some pressure to Goodrich. Freshman guard from Dayton, Ohio. Defending the senior from Chicago. Goodrich falling away, and he'll stay with Kansas State. This is a Kansas State team that went 9-18 last year, 3-15 in the Big 12, but they're off to a 7-1 start. Last season's struggles, of course, had a lot to do with COVID. They had 9 kids get COVID December 27th. They didn't play a game for 31 days. As Lee gets her own rebound and draws the foul. And they played 18 games in 6 weeks after they moved everything back. And coming out of COVID, they just weren't in shape. Started practice with 2 players on day 20, didn't get all 9 back until day 35. It was really the worst of circumstances for Kansas State.
Yeah, I think every team has a COVID story these days, and again, it's all about how are you able to adjust and bounce back from that. But yeah, that is a very interesting 9 players being out.
$14 points now for Aoka Lee. Comes away with the ball here. Simone Goodrich. Mackey. She'll drive, has her shot blocked by Fagan, but a whistle. Fagan will pick up her second. Alyssa Weselek checks in for the Gamecocks, senior forward from Charleston, South Carolina. Mackey misses the first. Crowd on its feet here inside Colonial Life Arena, making some noise. And Mackey hits the second. Some substitutions for the Wildcats as well. Dollinger back in. Ebert as well. Cardoso finds an open Rivers. She'll drive inside, now kick it to Weselek. And a whistle that will go against Kansas State. (65-39) is our score. It's close in the first quarter, but all South Carolina since. Here's Goodrich, one-on-one against Russell. Finishes and one.
Russell almost caught the body because her hands wasn't up.
Second foul on Russell. They'll send Goodrich to the line to try to finish off a three-point play. Goodrich averages 2.5 points a game, but has 6 tonight. This is the free throw. 1 minute remaining here in the fourth quarter. Sanaya Rivers directing traffic.
Kansas State has a little 2-3 defense against Carolina.
And the steal from Jada Moore. Dollinger will drive. Has her shot blocked by Sanaya Rivers. 8 seconds left on the shot clock for the Wildcats. Five for Goodrich. Dollinger for 3. That's good. And Sanaya Rivers will dribble out the clock, and that'll do it here inside Colonial Life Arena. South Carolina defeats Kansas State 65-44. It was close early on, Brett, but all South Carolina in the second, third, and fourth quarters.
Absolutely, yeah. You're right. They started out close, and then South Carolina just took the lead, and again, I have to give credit to me here for really keeping the tempo and again being productive in the area of the floor. Of course, Boston came out and she just again does what she does best.
South Carolina 16 blocks, tied for the most in a game under Dawn Staley. They hold Kansas State to 26% field goal percentage. Your final thought, Brett?
Again, just great Big 12 SEC matchup here. I think it was a great, again, to see the depth of the bench, being able to see the floor. You see a lot of freshmen overall being able to shut Lee out to minimize her points. And again, another great win for South Carolina.
South Carolina improves to 9-0. Kansas State drops to 7-2. Next up for South Carolina, Sunday, December 12th against Maryland. Next up for Kansas State, Wednesday, December 8th against Omaha. That'll do it for us here inside Colonial Life Arena. For Brett Ball and the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Weinstein saying so long from Columbia. South Carolina a winner, 65-44.